Welcome to SFA All Access. I'm Allison McDougald. With me on this episode is Sky Davis, a grad student in the filmmaking department here at SFA. Today, we'll be talking about her feature-length film, Grow Up. Let's get into this episode of SFA All Access. Today, we're going to be talking about the student-produced film Grow Up with director and graduate student Sky Davis. Grow Up is a film that takes a look at the struggles and challenges of being a modern-day college student. Before we talk to Sky, let's take a look at her trailer.
I think everything happens for a reason, whether it's good or bad. Life leads you down an enigmatic path. It brought me where I wanted to go.
Bad things happen every day in this world, but so do good things.
That was the trailer for the film directed by Sky Davis, who is currently in the studio. Thanks for joining us, Sky.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm just going to ask you a few questions about the film. So the first question is, could you give some background on what this film means to you?
So Grow Up is actually part of my thesis project to graduate with my MFA. I'm currently writing it right now, and it's just detailing every single process of making the film, which it's been about 1.5 years of my life, it's quite significant. A lot of the issues that are faced with the main character come from my personal life, whether it's experiences or people I've met. So it also kind of plays a tribute to like my whole college career.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's probably like a universal experience with college students.
Oh yes.
Like having that college experience for sure.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So the next question is, what do you hope for the audience to take away from your film?
So one of like the main themes of the story that Sophie experiences, it's kind of having an optimistic attitude towards, life. If it like hands you a bad card or something, if you're going through like a bad time in life, just trying to find the small things to make it seem worth it, whether that's like somebody that you have to, comfort you along the way, or even just looking at the experience, like in the end, how can I grow from this? What can I take from it? Like, how can I become a better person, like, once I get out of this?
That's really, like, inspirational. And speaking of that, like, was there any response that you expected to receive from the audience? Like, did you want them to relate to it, feel comfort by it, anything like that?
100%, like, going towards the audience relating to the film, because a lot of it comes from, my personal experiences, which also, I mean, as a college student, I'm pretty sure, almost nearly everybody kind of goes through the same thing. So a lot of the script is, like, hoping that the audience will relate to Sophie's story, at least in some ways.
Would you consider this like a coming-of-age kind of film?
Yes, 100%, yes. Like a coming-of-age drama.
That sounds really cool. And were there any challenges that you ran into during the process?
There were. I mean, challenges are inevitable. You have problems, like you might run out of daylight, or an actor gets sick, and sometimes you can't really control what happens. It's important to, think quickly on your feet to overcome those challenges. But, I mean, also, I wasn't working alone. Filmmaking is very collaborative. I had a whole team behind me working to, if a problem arose, somebody was always on it. There was always somebody there to help me with it.
That's really cool and good to hear. Who were some of your directorial influences, and were you inspired by any existing movies when coming up with Grow Up?
Yes. So one of my two primary movies really influenced Grow Up. One of them was Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird. The other one was The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Those two films I have always loved. Growing up, I took a lot of influence, not just from the storyline, but, throughout the whole process, like what my shots looked like, how I color graded shots, a lot of those influences, even some of the things that those characters faced within those films, my main character also faced.
That's really cool. It's like you mirrored some of those experiences. Like, would you say that Sophie and Lady Bird had a lot in common?
100%. As I was working with my director of photography, Tristan Robertson, a lot of the times when we were discussing shots or, scenes of the film, he would always say, "This is a lot like Lady Bird." So
that's kind of funny. And if you could change anything about this process, what would it be and why?
So anytime I get asked that question, I never really know how to answer it because, the mistakes I made while filming are, kind of what I talked about earlier. It's sometimes you make a mistake and you learn from that mistake. So had I not, I have a whole list of things in my head that I would change, whether that's parts of the script, the importance of a character, but looking back on it now, I don't think I would change anything because it's just going to make my next film so much better because I know what to fix.
Mm-hmm. That is all the time we have for this segment. But stick with us, Jax. We'll be right back. When we return, we'll talk with Sky about how being a student at SFA has contributed to her film, along with more info on the program she's a part of. We'll be back with more All Access after this. We're back with Sky Davis, and we've been talking about her feature-length film, Grow Up. In this segment, we'll be talking about the more creative and technical aspects of it all. Films such as Sky's are created by SFA students to showcase their talents in the filmmaking department. If you're interested in creating short films or being involved in one, feel free to check out sfasu.edu and search up filmmaking for more info. Welcome back, Sky.
Hi.
So this segment is going to be more about how you used SFA and Grow Up.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question I have is, what was your creative process like when directing Grow Up?
So pretty much with any other short film that I've made here at SFA, I always storyboard them. And I think by the end of the Grow Up storyboard, I had about 100 or 200 pages of storyboards. I drew out every single shot, every single scene. So I used that to talk with my DP. It was really helpful whenever trying to translate the ideas I had in my head to another person. And I think without that, there's no way that Grow Up would have been the same. Because a lot of that is my creative input, and it's the best way that I had to, translate that to the person who actually, brings the film to life visually.
Yeah, so there was a lot of thought that went into just the storyboarding.
Mm-hmm.
That is really cool. How did you go about the casting process, casting your main character Sophie and some of the other characters?
So for casting, I created a little website, and on that website I had, the main roles where I would need people for pretty much the entire month. And then I had the secondary roles where maybe they would only need to be on set 2 days. And I printed out some QR codes, and I went out with my assistant director, Bella Moreno, and we posted those up all around the SFA campus because I'm looking for, college-age actors. And I had auditions in our new building, the Griffith Fine Arts Building. I recorded those, and I showed them to some art faculty and kind of got their input. And that's about how I came up with the casting for Grow Up. And I think my cast, the entire cast did a great job, and I'm really happy with how, the roles that they portrayed.
Mm-hmm. How long did it take to shoot Grow Up in its entirety?
So shooting Grow Up, we used the SFA Film Summer Feature Class, which is the entire month of June, working 5 days a week, up to 12 hours a day. I think we started from June 1st and we wrapped on June 29th, I believe.
That's a long time. But in the trailer, you included an association with SFASU. What specific experiences and resources did you gain from SFA that helped you create this film?
So jumping into the SFA film program, automatically in the beginner class, you're already making films. And at the time, you look at it and you're like, wow, this is the best thing I've ever created. This is the greatest film ever. But as you advance throughout the further advanced classes, you start realizing, as you're learning different techniques, what different camera angles mean, how to direct your actors, different things like that. You advance your own skills. And looking back, you realize oh, okay, it wasn't the greatest film that I've ever made, but it's a good reference to kind of look off of.
So from the get-go, you've been creating short films since freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you've evolved really from your first freshman films to now making Grow Up?
100%, because I mean, starting off in beginner class, the whole process of making films, you know, as you're a student here at SFA, it's making mistakes, failing, and, you know, learning from those mistakes and becoming a better filmmaker.
Was there any lesson you learned from SFA that you think helped this film be successful?
I think kind of what I just touched down on with, you know, making mistakes, learning from those mistakes. It's whenever it helps you kind of have an idea of what needs to change in the future. Exactly what I touched on before. It's, you know, from the beginner class, you can look back on it and be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But you can see your progression like throughout the years.
For sure, yeah. What direction do you plan on going with Grow Up? Can we expect it to see on any streaming services in the future? Like, what does the future hold for your film?
So right now, after the premiere, I'm currently working on fixing a few things, just audience notes that I got. After that, I plan to start submitting it to film festivals, and hopefully that will help me, you know, connect with different people in the industry, open up new opportunities, and then after that, I want to start the distribution process. And I'm not entirely sure the direction to go with that yet, you know, like what streaming services it'll be on, but that is definitely something that I plan to do in the future.
That's really cool, yeah. And where can people go to find the trailer and the feature film itself, Grow Up?
So for the feature film itself, that I'm still unsure of, but for the trailer and any other news posted on my, it'll always be on my social media. Just Sky M. Davis is my YouTube channel. That's where you can find the trailer, any like behind the scenes clips when I post those.
Perfect, that's great to hear. And well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you to our dedicated viewers. If you'd like to see more episodes of SFA All Access or other Jack TV programs, you can find us on YouTube at Jack TV SFA. Thanks again for watching. See you next time in Axum.